Good morning, and thank you very much for coming over to this venue. And also those of you online, thank you very much for viewing and attending today. I would like to start our meeting today. So first of all, just briefly, I'd like to introduce myself. So starting from April this year, I became CRO of Fujitsu, Chief Revenue Officer. And at the same time, I'm serving as the head of Global Customer Success Business Group. Personally, in August 2019, I joined Fujitsu, and after that, mainly I was in charge of the customers in manufacturing industry. And yesterday, Japan Global Gateway was discussed, and I helped the launch of JGG and sustainable manufacturing for the customers and the manufacturing success. That's what I supported. And since Global Customer Success Business Group was established in 2022, involving the manufacturing, retail, and the financial services customer. And since then, I became the head of a Global Customer Success Business Group. So the last week, we announced the new midterm management plan and what we would like to achieve towards 2030, and also to realize the success for focus areas. That's what we announced. So the content of my talk is how to bring this customer success strategy into the implementation on the global scale with consistency. So with the existing or the old the global structure, there was a region and the delivery collaboration, but it was done separately and individually, deal by deal manner. So for those global customers operating globally, the consistent service offering was difficult with the old structure, and that was the issue that we faced. But starting from this year, I became the CRO, Chief Revenue Officer. So as you see, the roles and responsibilities of a CRO. So I have the responsibility to develop and maximize the revenue for Fujitsu. So without worrying about the industry differentiation and segment differentiation, I need to take a comprehensive approach in order to maximize the revenue. As you see on the right-hand side, so starting from this year, and as a CRO to regions and to the BUs, and we are promoting the Fujitsu events and the SAP, Microsoft, and other strategic partners. We need to promote the go-to-market on a global fashion, and so that the growth of Fujitsu as a whole and also the expansion in a consistent manner is to be realized. So these are the key strategies and measures. As for customer strategy, unified, consistent strategy and approach is needed. So the global standardization of account portfolio is the key. So this is what we reviewed. And as for pricing, conventionally, the price was set based upon the build-up of the cost, but the more on the focused and prioritized on the pricing approach based upon value is to be pursued. As for organization, as I mentioned, as CRO, the inter-regional collaboration is what I support, and the regional alignment with UVANs shall be promoted flexibly. As for operation, multi-region account management structure is to be established, and the expand digital sales with technology and the resources. I will give you a more detailed explanation later. But in order to compete globally, Global Account Director or GAD. So this is a new model that we introduced, and we are trying to develop this GAD. And not just the internal resources. From a global market, proactively, we are to capture the talent from the global markets. And the partner strategy, SAP, ServiceNow, Salesforce, Microsoft, and AWS, together with them, go-to-market strategy is being discussed with the leading teams of the strategic partners on a global scale. As I mentioned earlier, and this is a detailed explanation about what I mentioned, So to those customers operating globally, how shall we work with them and support them? So this is what this slide explains. Multi-region account management structure is to be established. And this operation model is to be promoted. To be more specific, to globally operating customers in all regions and all the business and the areas, our representative global account director, GAD, is to be nominated. And within the team, to expand and provide support to the customer's expansion and to provide a solution to the social issues, we are going to work closely with the customers. With the conventional model to the same customer, the regional alignment was rather limited in the past. So regionally, and also with the Fujitsu head office side, the teams worked differently towards and independently towards the customers. But there is no border when it comes to globally operating customers. So we need to have a more one-on-one relationship. In order to improve upon this, the dedicated the manager assigned to the customer shall be introduced, and they are called AGM, Account General Manager, placed under GAD. GAD has the overall responsibility for all the regions and all the businesses. And under GAD, there are AGMs. So the customer headquarters and in each of the regions, globally consistent service can be offered. And the global offering, like the U-Vans, will be possible based upon this structure. So this concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Next, Tsutsumi-san, over to you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tsutsumi. Now, I'd like to talk about the regional strategy about Japan specifically. First of all, please allow me to introduce myself. In April last year, I joined Fujitsu. Right now, I am responsible for a Japan region as the CEO. Before that, I worked for Philips Japan as CEO and Royal Philips Senior Vice President for the medical transformation, especially from the information perspective. And before that, I worked for Samsung Electronic Japan CEO and Samsung headquarters EVP as well. I was involved in the device and terminal stations. And then before that, I was a vice president for Cisco Systems for the information network and infrastructure and developing network in Asia. First out of college, I joined NEC. At NEC, I was involved in international business, and I was stationed in US for 6 years. And also I served as a secretary to president for 6 years as well. In that sense, US, Japan, and Asia, and Europe, I have been experiencing global management. So also in Fujitsu, for the future innovation, I hope to drive and promote the future innovation going forward. Now, let us reflect from 2020 to 2022, those are 3 years in the past. What we have been working on in Japan. You see 4 boxes here. The first one is the full-scale start of Fujitsu Japan. In October 2020, it started, and from April 2021, it started in a full-fledged way. So the domestic front line was strengthened to establish overwhelming position in the Japanese market, and to increase the profitability in the regional Japanese market as we speak. The second one is reorganize SI group companies. The fragmented expertise and the strengths are to be consolidated and to bring them together. That's what we've been working on. to improve earnings power through the new system integration organization. I think we're able to strengthen actions in that end. The third point, the transformation of the business producers. For those 8,000 salespeople, we conducted the reskilling training. And with that, the consultation capabilities have been strengthened so that we can promote the collaboration with the customers on the DX. Last but not least, the fourth one, the establishment of Rich Lines. This is as a transformation partner to strengthen our ability to handle the upstream processes, to support the customer's transformation, and to continue a disruptive future to improve the quality of the business deals. So to generate the businesses that are really fundamentally the core from the customer side. Now, as we have been working on this, based on what we've done so far, what are we going to do going forward? This is the current status of Japan region on the right-hand side of this page. You see our current positioning. In each segment, in each industry segment, we are maintaining a top-tier position in Japan. We have a very strong customer base. With that as a base, what are we going to drive growth going forward? I'll come back to that later on. But if I may draw your attention to enterprise, manufacturing, retail, and distribution, and finance. So from the global major players all the way to the regional and medium-sized companies, we are providing support to every single corner of Japan, and also providing a wide range of services from the application of global solutions to the individual system integration. And furthermore, we provide a wide range of support for manufacturing, retail and distribution, and finance companies, regardless of the industry sector. But of course, it's not sufficient. There is still a wide space. To secure the productivity, we have to further strengthen the productivity. And with the measures that I'll be explaining going forward, we'd like to strengthen those areas as well. On the other hand, in the public sector, for a long time, we've been supporting to build the public infrastructure system, and we are operating them. And we are supporting mission-critical operations with the high quality and high-level technical capabilities. And furthermore, the modernization, which has become a boom, and I will elaborate further about this, but we're driving a modernization. And in the healthcare area, we have a very high share in the electronic medical records area. So with that, I would like to build the UVAS areas even further. In Japan region, DX is not necessarily in the front line. Compared to other countries, Japan may be behind when it comes to DX. That means that there is still a potential. By leveraging our strengths, we would like to drive further growth. Now, targets for 2025 and actions towards that in a nutshell, as you can see in this chart, fiscal 2025, 1.45 trillion yen of sales, operating profit margin, 19.3%. That's what we are targeting. That's what we're trying to achieve. When you show you these numbers, you may wonder, can we really achieve this? But this is a possible target that we should go for. I'll give you more details later, but the details are on the right-hand side, the 5 key points. 3 in expanding revenues and 3 in improving productivity. So 1 is overlapping, and one of the core pillar is UVAMs. 210 billion yen is a target for 2025, and the second pillar is a modernization, 250 billion yen of revenue in 2025. And with the transformation of the front line, and there are 3 key points. The first one is the consultation. the approach to strengthen the consultation. And the second point here is the digital sales, offering sales. The third point is engagement with partners, measures by strengthening the coverage. And then the fourth one is optimizing development. Yesterday, Ashima-san talked about the gross margin, 1% growth per year was mentioned. So as a front line, how can we drive this? How can we lead this? And I'll elaborate on this later on. And then last but not least, the strengthening of the quality management. This is a very important portion in improving the productivity as well. Customers' needs are based on the needs and attributes of the customers. The frontline approach will be fundamentally transformed and strengthened. With that, in fiscal 2025, we should be able to achieve these targets and will be strengthened actions towards that end. Now, those 5 points that I just introduced, let me elaborate further. First of all, the Uvance is the first point on expanding revenue. On this, yesterday, Takahashi-san already covered this, but 40% of the sales in 2025 should come from international. 700 billion was mentioned by Takahashi-san yesterday. In other words, in Japan, that's 420 billion in 2025 that we have to achieve. Out of that, 210 billion shall be led by us in the front line. As a matter of fact, with the existing pipeline, when we say pipeline, it's not the revenue, it's a visibility. What kind of projects do we have in the pipeline? But looking at the current pipeline, horizontal 300 billion, vertical 200 billion. So we do have such a big pipeline. So 2 years since Uvance started, especially in vertical 200 billion, this figure it might still not be sufficient, but at least we've been able to bring to where we are in 2 years. So going forward with modernization and with the Uvance various schemes up and running, we should be able to strengthen and expand the pipeline even further for sure. So as a front line, I will be leading and driving the Uvance business. And I'll give you some case examples towards the end of my presentation. The second pillar is a modernization. In Fujitsu, we have customers using our mainframe Unix. So we have a lot of customers who use our mainframe Unix. We have to make sure to drive them to the modernization. That's our mission, to guide our customers to modernization. And the modernization knowledge center, which was explained yesterday with accumulated knowledge and including other companies' areas, this is really an aggressive modernization that we would like to roll out. Modernization in 2025, 250 billion yen is the plan. As a matter of fact, already modernization has started. As you can see on the right-hand side, these are the orders case, starting with the central governments and the carrier companies and financial institutions, electronic manufacturers, the food manufacturers, and pharmaceutical companies. The actual modernization projects have already kicked off. So customers' attention to modernization is getting higher and higher, especially after COVID-19, post-COVID. Looking towards 2025, various movements and BCP, measures against security, based on those perspectives, modernization trend will be further accelerated. Now, let me talk about the front transformation, the third point. Expanding revenue and improving productivity. This point, transforming our method of sales, actually applies to both. And 3 key points: consulting approach, offering sales, digital sales, and engagement with partners. Here, based on the needs and attributes of the customers, Fujitsu's values shall be recognized. And for those customers who recognize our values, we will strengthen our frontline approach in a very aggressive way. Let me give you some specific measures. The first one is the consulting approach together with Ridgelines by leveraging Ridgelines. Already, this is something that we can introduce as a case example of a certain electronic manufacturer as a business transformation program management with the consensus of the top management and alignment, including explanation of a project. Ridgeline is taking care of that. And as a result of that, core standard ERP, how it can be implemented in-house, creation of a system that utilizes the production knowledge, so we can come up with such specific solution. And then creating a data utilization infrastructure is very important. Non-ERP strategy implementation, core platform planning, and consultation leveraging data. And after gaining experiences, we can generate more opportunities. So that's a kind of cycle and the routine that's actually being realized already. So this core standard ERP and the data utilization, that's exactly what we call modernization. And from here on, this will lead to further opportunities. In other words, this is to generate the UVAS. So that's the approach that we work together with Ridgelines. We already implementing this action. It will further strengthen this kind of action going forward.
Number 2, this is about the offering sales and the digital sales. Conventionally, well, the business producers and the approach to the customers on the separate and individual basis. But the customers are changing and the business environment is changing. So one business producer alone is not able to handle all the aspects of the customers and all the customers. So a new approach is needed to develop the market. Engagement with the customers will be important more than ever. So in addition to the conventional approach, we are proposing 3 approaches. Number 1 is offering sales. So the UVANS, which is the company-wide approach by Fujitsu, based upon UVANS, well, we make the introduction, demonstrations, and the many different stories. And the proposals will be made by the offering sales and approach the customers in the multiple ways. That's number 1. Number 2 is BDR, which means Business Development Representative. BDR, from BDR to specific and individual customer approach to them, and so that the customer can expand the scope of the new opportunities, development of new business opportunities, and based upon that, we make proposals and offer trials, and the specific on the implementation of these ideas. So the will be offered by BDR, digital sales, and the third is SDR, which means Sales Development Representative. So more macroscopic approach is taken by SDR. For example, seminars are organized, digital streaming of the opportunities, various the touch points will be created, and that will lead to specific proposal to the business of the customers. By taking these approaches, more multifaceted, multiple approach will be taken to cover the area which hitherto hasn't been covered by our activities. So that's what we intend to do. And lastly, engagement with the partners. In Japan, we have very strong partners domestically, solution dealers, 450 local partners, and Fujitsu affiliated information processing service companies, 108. So we have a very strong partners in Japan. So for example, core DX, and they cannot be achieved in some areas, and the customers who are wondering what to do with the DX. And together with the partners, we can enhance the engagement And as a result, various business proposals and the offerings will be made to the customers, and that has to be strengthened. So we decided to unify the point of contact with our partners. And also, we are shifting our focus from products to digital services, mainly focused on the centering around the Uvans. Now, the making development more efficient and also efforts to make the quality management stronger. So that's another point I'd like to explain. Yesterday, Shimazu explained about this the efficient development, enhancing development efficiency. And for us in the front line, we are also promoting the delivery transformation. And the one point is the maximization of the use of the GDC, JJG. And yesterday, the numbers were mentioned to raise the utilization, and the front line will support that. And the agile and the standardized development, remote, and also the connection as well as the centralization. We are going to make the company-wide efforts. And one CRM, adequate allocation of the resources, starting from the early stage of the pipeline, or we are engaged with this, and they make the timely updating, and to gain the trust from the customers, and by updating customers frequently. So that is what we are trying to do to make this more efficient. So delivery transformation will also be promoted by the frontline organization as well. Next is about the enhancement of the quality management. Probably you already know, but on the 19th of May, information security policy was enhanced, and also the system quality enhancement, the companies and the engagement in that area was announced. CQO and the higher governance, one delivery process, information security, and Fujitsu developers platform. So all of these activities are done in a more focused manner by company-wide efforts. And we at the frontline organization is also aligned in these company-wide efforts so that we can offer our value in this area as well. Fujitsu Developers Platform, yesterday, Shimazu explained about this platform. So in the information related to quality in the development field is captured, and the information and issues can be captured in advance and the predicted, and that information shall be fully shared. That will contribute to higher quality and the productivity, so that we can create a trusting relationship with the customers, raise it, and also reduce the unprofitable projects. And that became possible by using this kind of a platform. So in the enhancing the quality management, we are also committed to make utmost efforts in enhancing quality in the frontline the organization. And the next point is about some of the specific examples of innovation. One example is about the electric power companies and the efforts in introducing the renewable energy, and also the higher maintenance work for the power distribution facility. The digital shift in the Uvans is linked to this example. So the frontline is also heavily involved in this. Fujitsu's strength is in the sensoring technology and the data processing or the data transformation. By fully utilizing these technologies, power companies, the power distribution network, we apply the laser so that we can catch the vibration due to the wind, and also the solar light, and also temperature, and other outside external data can be applied to the process and analyze the data accurately. So by so doing, dynamic rating will be possible. In other words, the calculation of the output from the distribution network will be possible. And this is instrumental in introducing more efficiently the renewable energy. And also the drone, for example, operation, for example, the maintenance and the safety can be enhanced to see whether drone can be operated in some area or not, and that will also determine the level of the efficiency. And the Chugoku Electric Power Company has already adopted this. And if this is to be applied to other electric power companies, I believe that they do. And then the several tens of billions of yen of new businesses will be generated. Another example here, this is Yuvan's healthy living is related to this particular example. In the healthcare area, data-driven business is to be built upon, and the platform is where we can initiate and introduce so that the new healthcare society will be created on top of that. So we have our own electric medical record business. We have a high share. So PHR information will be linked to that. And now there are some new development by the government. And also the 100% electric the medical record system is what is being promoted. So how to use the medical data by enhancing the motivation of the individuals and by using the data. Well, this will reduce the cost of healthcare and the new medical care, new business model for the healthcare and the consumers, the patients and the general the patients by showing data to them. Well, the new monetizing data the model can be generated based using data. So the PHR, electronic medical record, and the government policies, by combining all of these trends, we can create the platform. In PHR, Sapporo, the medical university, we started the POC with a different menu. So for the digital analysis, digital twin, well, the Tokai as well as the other universities are being involved in our projects, and we assure that we can lead these initiatives and create the application service and also healthcare society, which will certainly contribute to the well-being of the people. So service through service solution, create the affluent Japan and Japan's future. So this is what Japan should be, and that's what we would like to support and lead and create. So please give us a continuous support and interest in what Fujitsu is going to do. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much. Next, CEO, Mr. Furuta, please. Good morning. This is Furuta. Thank you very much for coming back to day 2. So I would like to talk about the international regions and I will moderate the following session, which is the Q&A session. So regions on in the last year's announcement of the midterm management plan, probably you have some idea about the size or the numbers of international regions, revenue, operating profit improvement. Comparing Japan and other regions, well, the regions they are somewhat they are smaller in terms of the size of the operation. But today I'd like to talk about what we have done in international regions and what we'd like to do in the future. In summary, so international businesses of Fujitsu. So these are the 2022 figures after turning them into the financial announcement. And the former segmentation was used to show you the numbers for the different regions. Hardware, maintenance, business was excluded from that. And overall, the figures are shown on the left-hand side of this slide. Hardware and maintenance business is excluded. So the services, as you see at the bottom on the left-hand side, MIS and BAS. So we simplified the international business, but MIS means managed infrastructure services. So this is the infrastructure service and others. And the BAS stands for business application services. So including applications, development, all the way to operation. That's covered by BAS, BAS. And as you see on the right-hand side, Americas, Europe, and Asia Pacific, the number of countries we cover and the number of people working in these regions are summarized as you see. What I want you to look at is the BAS, MIS, and MIS, and BAS. So how are they deployed? In Americas, it is BAS. It is focusing upon BAS. Europe and Asia Pacific, MIS business is still large, so we have both. And I would like to look back the past years from fiscal 20 to 22 in the period of the previous midterm management plan. On the left-hand side, Americas, this worked quite well. Thirdly, we exited from the unprofitable businesses, as you see. And by the end of 2021, we took actions, and last year, 2022, new business application services was initiated America's business. Americas has been loss incurring in the past years, but last year it turned profitable. So I don't give you detailed numbers, but we came to the stage where we were able to achieve the target ratio of 7%, but still the scale is limited. The scale is small. So that is the issue of America's business. Now, Europe, historically speaking, Europe has been very strong in the product business. As you may know, we closed the plants and product-centered unprofitable countries, so we exited from those countries with product focus. So structural reform was done and is being done in Europe. Now, since last year, since 2022, product business and the service business management structure, so we separated these the management structures. And now we have the structure which enables us to focus upon the service business. So that's what we have done up to fiscal 22. And the low gross margin on the businesses, the product business, and there has been the main focus. And they account for more than 50% of the total business, and that is MIS business. It is still the major part of the European business. So how to shift it to application area business? And since yesterday, we have been talking about the Uvans and the verticals of Uvans and high profit horizontal areas, how to shift to those the high profit areas. That is a challenge for Europe. Looking at the results in last year in Europe, the more than half of the overseas international business comes from Europe. So the structural reform in Europe is important. Last week, the structural reform was a term used by CFO Isobe. So that is exactly what we need to do in Europe. And the far right, Asia Pacific, since last year, Oceania and ASEAN were integrated into large region called Asia Pacific. ASEAN, Oceania, that's Australia, New Zealand. The countries are somewhat different in nature. The Oceania, they are focused upon service business. And then now, as the Asia Pacific, we would like to promote that. And by industry, more application area, and the shall be focused upon, and also industries are relevant to that. And on top of that, for companies, so the technology consulting companies, so we acquired them. We completed M&A. They are based in Australia, but particularly the company called Enable, which is the third in this list. ServiceNow is the base of their business. They have application, templates, service integration. These three can be done by this company, and they have been operating in ASEAN countries as well. So this can be a core function in the business applications of Uvance. So that's what we have done to expand and strengthen the DX capabilities. So, and the issues and challenges is Europe and Asia Pacific. As I mentioned on the previous page, the main focus in these two regions is the MIS business. So how to turn them into bus area verticals. So that's the challenge. And at the bottom, you see common initiatives. So the actions we need to take, we have taken all these the initiatives, but we need to accelerate them. First of all, offerings, global offerings, and replace this is synonymous to Fujitsu Uvance and accounts. At the beginning, GET was mentioned in the previous presentation. Well, and they focus upon global account, and then delivery. So delivery transformation, global delivery center. JGG is for Japan, but the global delivery centers shall be fully utilized for the international and the alliance. There are 4 points. Global for sisters, that was a term used in Americas region in the past. Operation size was smaller, so the transformation was the easier, but it's region specific, offering development or investment. We decided not to do that. And global for sisters, which are the supporting all these the regions. So we need to focus upon these 4. So that's what America did, and it resulted in the transformation. So this is a very good reference that we were able to utilize in the period of previous the MTMP. So to the larger regions of Europe and Asia Pacific, I'm not talking about Japan, or I'm not saying that the Japanese will be the heads of the functions, but regionally we need to transform the regional businesses in these international regions. I cannot go into detailed explanation today, but the key strategies, I mentioned about this a little bit already. But the business model, portfolio strategy, all the way down to people strategy listed here. Managed infrastructure from a managed infrastructure service to BaaS, the shift from MIS to BaaS is the focus. Top line may not grow so much, but the ratio of MIS and the BaaS it shall be changed to push up the profitability. What we would like to achieve is MIS and BaaS ratio. It is 50-50 right now, particularly in Europe. So the target is to, by 2025, make the ratio of MIS and BAS the up to 50-50, and Fujitsu Uvance is the key to do that. And the global organization and the organization, Shimazu yesterday talked about it, and the Yoshinami Takahashi, and their teams will be fully aligned. And he talked about the extended arm. So the business from a business group to Europe region and the Americas, for these regions, well, the people will be assigned, and together with the local team, the region's business will be supported. So the 100 people, in 2023, this year, we will start this with 100 people approximately. Investment and the allocation and the assignment of the people, it will be done as an initiative of the business group. And that's number 1, which works most effectively. And second is about the customer success and regional strategy. So the consulting capability is to be enhanced, which was mentioned yesterday. By 2025, 10,000 people, 10,000 consultants. So that's what we mentioned. And this is part of that program. So consulting lead approach to Fujitsu Uvance business shall be expanded based upon that. And then globally standardized and the approach to the customers. So global account strategy, which was mentioned earlier, is related to this. Next is a technology strategy. It is not necessary to mention once again, but our strength is technology, particularly cars, computer as a service, and hybrid IT. And we have our own unique IPs, so we expect the synergy effect by combining these to support Uvance. And the people strategy, resource strategy, MIS is the main business in Europe and APAC. But we are trying to shift it to BAS. So that means the reskilling will be necessary to enable such shifting. We are going to hire people, and the full-fledged and reskilling efforts will also be done. So we announced last week, and we mentioned some numbers, and we are going to achieve that through people strategy. And some regions are trying to do these activities on their own or internally, but the strategic, the resource and the planning is to be utilized. So Japan is one country, but the regions, Americas, and it doesn't have many countries. But when it comes to APAC and Europe, and they cover multiple number of countries. Particularly in Europe, country by country, there are some differences. So what I mentioned today is about the overall initiatives for the entire international regions and some of the common denominators, common features. But the country A, B, C, D, E in Europe, for example, we are making plans for each of these countries. And reskilling may be needed, is needed. And also some countries, are based upon infrastructure service mainly. So it depends upon the country and the characteristics of the country, and that determines what we need to do. So we can come back to you and give you a more detailed explanation. But today, what I mentioned is the total picture. So from this is within the service solution. So infrastructure service business to application business service. So we need to shift and transform the nature of the business and try to accelerate the shift. So that's what we'd like to do. So thank you very much so much for my presentation. Thank you.